Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome to episode 3 of the Poison Podcast. As always, I will introduce myself. I am your host, Megan O'Neill, and let's get started. As you can probably see, if you're looking, you can see that I am completely what I like to say gang banging. Gang banging is my Cockney slang for hanging, and it basically just means that I am sick. So what a roundabout way to say that I'm ill. A few topics today that I want to cover. I'm a little bit head foggy, I'm a little bit brain fogged, so please bear with me as I try to get through these topics, because it's not a case of, oh, we'll just leave the podcast for a week. No, we need to get it done, and we need to make sure that we do it to the best of our ability, but listen, we can only ever give what we have. So yeah, bear with me today, folks. It might be a little bit of a ropey one, but I'm sure that we'll have fun whenever we're doing it. So if anybody that is watching has noticed, I have some very well placed product placement today. If you can't see, I will tell you what it is. It's Iconic Bronze, because I want to announce very proudly that I am now brand ambassador and affiliate to the brand. I am part of the Iconic Bronze team now, and I am so excited to be along with them, because I'm probably Iconic Bronze's #1 fan. If you've seen the box of tan that I have, it is the best. So this one obviously goes out to all the ladies and the men that wear the tan. This is now the brand that I will be working with, and I am extremely proud to announce it, because I do use all their products, and I am the sort of person that I'm not one of these, I don't call myself an influencer. I'm not going to influence just to do everything except live your best fucking lives and be yourselves completely. But I'm not going to influence you to use a product that I don't believe in. So Iconic Bronze is the dog's bollocks when it comes to tanning, it comes to makeup, every single product I have every single product that they have. I've tried and tested every single product because I am obsessed with it. I was a makeup artist back in the day, so I am into beauty. But this is the tan that I wear consistently. I'm always asked what tan I wear, and it's Iconic Bronze. So as you can see here, you have the gradual moisturizer, you have the mousse, which is the extra dark, because I like to be extra dark. You have the facial tanning mist, which is absolutely incredible. Then you have, I think this is actually discontinued, so this is the Iconic Bronze liquid tan lotion with Chloe Ormond. Literally my favourite tan. I think I bought, it was going out of stock I think, and I bought every single one. So sorry to anybody that didn't get it. I have it sitting in my house. I actually have probably still about 10 bottles, it's amazing. Then you can actually get the little small travel size ones, and then obviously the buffer brush, what do we call it? See how I can't think today? Kabuki brush. It's a kabuki brush. So yeah, you'll probably be able to see and hear that I am not with it today. I am extremely under the weather. But listen, I'm here nonetheless, and we're getting it done. Something I want to talk about with regards to tanning products. Now, I wear tan obviously for myself, but we're going to move on swiftly from the product placement, and we're going to actually talk about something that's really close to my heart, okay? So as you will see, for anybody watching, I am on here, I am looking the way I look, I've got up, I've washed my face, I've came down, and I have sat here and I'm deciding to do a podcast. Something I feel extremely passionate about is the fact that women feel like they have to look their best all the time, or if they're coming on to do this sort of thing, they have to look well. Now, last week I didn't wear makeup, and I didn't draw any attention to it because I didn't want to draw attention to it, because as you will have seen, I put out a little bit of content from my live that I talked about. I hate whenever girls feel like they have to say, I'm sorry for how I look. Something I feel extremely passionate about, obviously, is females and them living their best life and looking exactly how they fucking want to look, and nobody commenting on it, because who gives a fuck, okay? Except you. You're the only person that matters when it comes to how you look and how you want to look. I've also placed a book in here that I think is really paramount for anybody, any female that maybe feels like they owe the world pretty, okay? I'll show you it. It is a book by, Florence Given. I'm just going to wreck the whole thing. I just wrecked everything. That was not smooth, but give me a second and I'll fix it. I'll be back in a second. So we're back. Our product placement is all over the shop, but fuck it, listen, let's just move on. The book that I'm going to talk to you about is called Women Don't Owe You Pretty, and it's by Florence Given. Now, I follow her on Instagram. You can find her on Instagram if you don't know who she is. She's pink hair, she's fucking amazing. Basically, this book is all about how women don't owe you pretty. We're grown up in this sort of era that you have to look a certain way and you have to dress a certain way and you have to wear makeup and you have to fix the blemishes in your skin and you have to look a certain way, be a certain size, wear certain things. And it's all fucking bullshit. It is all fucking bullshit. And if I could scream that from the top of the mountain at the top of my lungs, I would, until we get it into our heads that we do not owe the world pretty. We don't fucking owe anybody anything. We can look whatever way we want, we can dress whatever way we want. And Florence Given, oh my god, does she go into it in this book? My 8-year-old daughter actually picked this book up and started reading it. It's very well loved. As you can see, it's a bit dirty here. You need to read it because she hits the fucking nail on the head with so many of the things that she says in this book. Again, I've really serious brain fog, so I am not able to retain information right now, but this book is fucking incredible, so you need to watch it. Or you need to watch this book. You need to read it. I am really trying my best, folks, here, but as you can probably see, I am struggling with how much brain fog I actually have. It's being sick. Another product I actually want to talk about is these two products. You've probably seen them on my Instagram before. It is the Fabu Focus and the Fabu Skin. My skin has never looked better. Everybody has been commenting on my skin. Absolutely. Like, I have really good skin anyway, but everybody has been mentioning how glowing it is, and I actually agree. Like, my skin is on fire at the minute. Like, it's fucking incredible. Like, I have nothing on my skin at the minute. Like, I have no moisturiser or anything on. It's actually feeling quite tight, so I need to get some on. So I have quite dry skin, especially when I'm sick as well. And then Brain, so this is very good for ADHD. I have ADHD and I use it every single day. I take 2 of the capsules every single day and I couldn't live without it. So they're by the fabulous pharmacist who is Laura Dowling. I was on her podcast before, if you had seen. It's called the Laura Dowling Experience and it is amazing. She's such an amazing woman and she makes incredible products. She is a pharmacist herself. Definitely check her out. She's on Instagram under Fabulous Pharmacist. She is amazing, but I just wanted to talk about them because a lot of people ask me whenever I do my lives and I take my supplements, people are always asking me what supplements I take, and these are my 2 daily with also vitamin D. I never go a day without taking my vitamin D. As always, this is the podcast for the people, and I put up on my Instagram. It's probably the best way to find me about topics that we want to talk about in the podcast. And somebody actually came to me the other day and said they would love to talk about medical anxiety. So let's delve into it. What is medical anxiety? So it can also be known as, you probably heard it being called hypochondria. Medical anxiety, I've had medical anxiety, I have medical anxiety, I have always had medical anxiety. I am very hypochondriac. I turn it into a lighthearted topic, and a lot of people do. A lot of people laugh at it and joke about it and turn it into this lighthearted thing, but it's really serious as well. Like, it's not funny. I've had it my whole life. I probably will continue to have it my whole life. The only difference is now that it doesn't rule my life and I can laugh about it because I've went through a lot of therapy and stuff to kind of rationalise that part of my brain. It's not always easy. You can't always fix it. It can't always just decide that you're not going to be anxious anymore and then it's gone. I always joke and laugh and say that my mum has the absolute cure to all mental health illnesses. Honestly, she has it nailed down, and I'm going to tell you what it is because honestly, it's perfect. Like, she is such an Einstein. She is so smart. Are you ready for it? The cure to all mental health ailments, issues, disorders, anything is just give yourself a shake. Just give yourself a shake. And cured. Whenever she would say it to me, I'd go, fuck, why did I not think of that? Jesus, I am cured. It's fucking wild. She does it all the time. Absolutely amazing woman, but she's of that era that you just give yourself a shake and then you're all right. So I always take the hand out of her for it. I always laugh about it with her, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, like, just give yourself a shake. Why did people not think of that? She means well, but God love her. I'm going to read out what medical anxiety is. So illness anxiety disorder, sometimes called hypochondriasis or health anxiety. I probably said that wrong, but anyway, listen, it's grand, you know what I'm talking about. is worrying excessively that you are or may become seriously ill. You may have no physical symptoms, but you know the funny thing about it is that your brain is so in tune with your body. If you tell your brain, I know that I can do this, if you tell your brain that you've symptoms of a physical illness, your body will start to have those symptoms because your body is literally listening to your brain. So the most important thing you can do is just give yourself a shake. It's very important to understand that whenever you start to become overly anxious about something, or you've maybe read something in the TV, or you've seen a disease and you start to then feel the physical symptoms, is that you bring yourself into check and really ask yourself, how likely is it that I'm actually experiencing these, or have I tricked my brain into coming up with the symptoms themselves? Because more often than not, we're fine. And I know this because I have dealt with it my whole life. I do take the hand out of myself about it because I am that sort of light-hearted person. I turn everything into a joke. It's my defence mechanism, and I do genuinely find everything light-hearted and funny, because for me, I'm literally like, none of us are getting out alive anyway. Let's just have some fun while we're here. So I don't take anything too serious. Obviously, I can be serious when I need to be, but with medical anxiety, I will openly tell everybody, like, you know, I'm dying. Like, I have cancer. I have breast cancer. I've got ovarian cancer. I will go to the doctors, and I will, even though I can rationalise it and I can joke with them too, I still need to get those tests because I still need to calm myself down. So even though I can go to the doctors and I can say, like, I think I've got cancer, and I know that you're probably thinking, like, I'm mental, that I don't have it, but I want you to check. I know the likelihood is that I don't have it, but I need you to check. So, like, I've been checked for breast cancer so many times. I've been checked for ovarian cancer, but in saying that, I did have SIN3, so whenever my smear came back when I was 21, I had to have half my cervix removed because I was at the stage just before it turned cancerous. So there is a little bit of, and my daddy obviously had cancer, and my granny passed away from cancer. So there is things whenever you have medical that do add to the sort of basis of you thinking, I'm definitely going to get it, or I'm gonna get this illness or that. It doesn't always have to be cancer, but we just obviously jump to conclusions with, I know that I do. Medical anxiety is really difficult because even if you can, as I was saying, like, even if you can rationalise it, your body will come up with the symptoms, and you will convince yourself, and you'll Google, you'll Google, and you'll be dead yesterday with Google. You'll have fucking died and been buried with Google. But you know what? It's a good tool to use, but we abuse it, don't we? We go on and we be like, gonna Google sore stomach, headaches, and you've got fucking bowel cancer. Do you know what I mean? And it's like all of these illnesses have the same sort of symptoms, like sore heads. Like, it's very, very, like, they're all very common. Any sort of symptom can lead off into any sort of illness. And it's really important that we remember that whenever we start to sort of overthink that we have these illnesses and we have all these diseases. But it is not easy to live with because, you know, especially after COVID, I think that whenever COVID happened, we all got extremely cautious. You probably don't know my stance on COVID, and it doesn't matter what my stance is on COVID, but what I will say is that I never said it wasn't real. But what I felt was that the language used, the advertisements, I don't watch TV, but I remember being in my mum and dad's house and seeing an advertisement, and it was like COVID was this black, dark mass that was kind of floating through the air. And I was like, you know, I studied TV and film, I studied advertising, and that was the perfect opportunity to scare people. And that was my issue with it. It was my issue with being forced into vaccinations when you didn't want them. My issue was never, was it real or was it not? But it was really the language and the pictures used was just frightening, and no wonder everybody was scared. So I think after COVID, medical anxiety has increased tenfold because things that were normal, you know, COVID has been around for years. We know this, the coronavirus has been around for years. It is a cold. It's always been the case of that the flu or a very bad cold could kill people that were ill, you know, and nothing really changed in terms of what the coronavirus was. It was just that this strain seemed to be that little bit more rapid and that little bit more dangerous. But it was always going to be that way for the people that unfortunately did have, you know, a compromised immune system, that sort of thing. But it was always that way. But I think COVID came in then and really frightened everybody because, as I say, these things that were normal, like colds, you didn't have to worry about. You now had to worry about. You now had to worry about your symptoms of coughing and having no taste, no smell. All that sort of thing became really, really scary. And I think that COVID has absolutely fucked a lot of people. And I don't think COVID itself, I think the government and the way they handled it, and I will openly say that, I completely disagreed at every stage with the way they handled it and the scaremongering and everything that kind of went on in that area, or in that era I should say, was just, it was awful. I never got vaccinated, my kids never got vaccinated. I'm not against I'm not an anti-vaxxer at all. It just didn't sit right with me in my gut. I don't have to explain myself to anybody, nor does anybody that did or didn't get it. I've never argued about the coronavirus. I've never argued about vaccinations. Each to their own, and this is my issue with everything in life. It's like, do what the fuck you want, and like, as long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're not putting anybody at risk, do whatever the fuck you want. You don't have to explain yourself. I think that when you come from a people pleasing sort of background, you feel like you have to explain yourself to everybody, and that is just absolutely bullshit. You don't have to explain anything to anybody. Do as you please, and that's just it. So I kind of went off on a wee tangent there, but I don't have the cure to medical anxiety. I just want to bring awareness to it, that it is a very serious condition to live with. It's very hard to try and rationalise yourself away from it. But CBT, so cognitive behavioural therapy, is good for medical anxiety. Talking, rationalising, reassurance, I suppose, understanding that where this comes from, where this sort of fear comes from. Is it a fear of death? Is it a fear of hospitals? Is it a fear of, medical things? What is it a fear of? And then try and work from there. So kind of go to the CBT, kind of follows the pattern of, it gets to the root cause of what the issue is, and then it works from there. So it doesn't just stay on the surface, it kind of digs in deep, and then it starts to try and change the way you think about those things. So definitely seek some mental health services, but again, mental health services here in Northern Ireland are completely fucking shot, so you'll probably die before you get an answer from them. And I'm just being brutally honest. God love the place here, Northern Ireland. We have mental health services, but our mental health issues in this country are absolutely diabolical, and we have fucking no services in terms of, like, you'll wait 2 years on a waiting list before you get to speak to anybody. Like, you'll be dead and buried before you get to even talk to anybody. So it's not exactly that great, but they are there. It's just getting them. But listen, I can go into a whole topic here about storming and about politics, and I feel very strongly about politics in this country in terms of the way the parties are working together, not working together, I should say. Absolute disgrace. I hate the green and orange. I hate the conquer and divide. And I think it all needs to be scrapped and started again. And Megan O'Neill for PM, because I will change things. I will fuck shit up. Not today, because I'm pretty sick. But yeah, I was going to go into politics before, because I feel very strongly about topics about this, and I will argue with anybody about anything. I am that person. So if I feel strongly about a topic, best believe I have the facts to back up, because of being neurodivergent, I don't talk about things I don't know about. So if I'm talking about a topic, you probably know that I have researched it within an inch of its life, because I probably focused on it for a few weeks, and therefore I will boom the facts to you. So that's something to think about. I think everybody and their granny's sick at the minute. Like, everybody is ill. Oh, I feel like death. Anyway, moving on, we're going to go into our agony aunt section. It's always my favourite section every week, where we get to talk about things that people have sent in to me in emails. You can get me at meganoneill@hotmail.co.uk, and that's Megan with a H, so it's MEGHANONEILL@hotmail.co.uk. Send in your agony aunt paragraphs, and we will get talking about them. So this week, it's about money, okay? So I'm going to read out what this guy sent me. I got married to an amazing woman 6 months ago. As soon as we got married, my cousin reached out and asked for money, because he knew we obviously got wedding gifts and money. I don't want to part with my money. I think it's rude. What do I do? Well, I mean, it's very simple. I always say it's very simple. It's not easy, but it's a very simple solution. Tell him to get fucked. No, Do you know what? It's all case by case. When money gets involved with anything, be it a funeral, somebody dies and they have a will, I know I've dealt with this personally in my own family. There's been money left, everybody argues over it. You see it all the time, everybody argues over money. The fucking world is in a state of disgrace because of money, fighting over money. That's all it is. It's money and power and wealth and status, and it's all absolute bullshit. So what do? Well, if you don't want to part with your money, you don't fucking part with your money, and that's it. Like, you might have to tell your cousin, listen mate, like I just can't, I can't afford, like, it's coming up to Christmas, and well, they did say that this was 6 months ago. Obviously your cousin's come to you and he wants money because he knows that you've got, you know, an influx of gifts and money from your wedding, and do you know what, it wasn't their fucking wedding. Do you know what I mean? Like, if he wants to get money, go out and have your own wedding. I don't know if he's single or what, but like, this is always the thing. When people think you have money, I have been asked for money, don't get me wrong, and I have handed over the money, but there are obviously things you have to look out for. How close are you to this person? Can you trust that they're going to give it back? I think the big thing for me in that message was that I don't want to part with my money. If you don't want to part with it, don't part with it. If you really don't want to part with your money and you got it as a gift, or you got these presents as gifts, don't do it. Like, literally, that's just as simple as it is. Again, it's not easy because you might have to turn around to your cousin and be like, listen mate, I don't want to give you this money. Or, you know, I wouldn't even make, a lot of people jump to the sort of scenario of making up something as to why they can't give it. But like, if your cousin respects you, you just turn around and tell him, listen, I don't want to give you this money, or I've spoke to my wife and we've decided that we don't want to give you this money because we're going to use it towards, like, because you are going to use it towards something, either buying a house or going on a honeymoon or Christmas, or, you know, whatever, doing up your house if you already have a house. You know, you don't need to explain yourself to anybody. Money is this big taboo, and I will talk about it on a different podcast at some stage because I do want to have all the sort of facts written down before we go into it. But money is this sort of thing that people get really like fucked up about, and they're like, oh, we can't talk about it, but if they know you have it, they're going to want some of it. And yeah, it just sounds like, you know, if somebody's struggling, fair enough, but, you know, you don't want to give it over, you don't have to explain yourself, and it's not selfish. You do what you want to do with your money, and nobody has the right to ask you for it unless you have to repay a bank or some shit, and then they will ask you for it. Or you've got a loan, and then you have to pay for it. But if you don't want to give out your money, it's as simple as just don't. If I'm giving my honest opinion, I think it's extremely rude that somebody would straight away, like, if you get married and then they're like, oh, can I have money? Like, no, you fucking can't. Like, you do with your money what you want to do, and don't allow yourself to be caught in a trap of, oh, this person needs money, because it's your money. Like, you gotta gift it to you. It's the same as people winning the lottery. A lot of people are like, I'm not telling anybody because people are going to ask for money. It's mad. It is absolute madness to me that people just become money grabbers as soon as you know. Like, I know for me personally, when I started making a little bit more money than I'd ever made, people were straight away like looking at me different, talking to me different. It's like they think money makes a person, but it really doesn't. If you're going to lend money out, the thing that I always think is that if I lend money out, I don't expect to get it back, because 9 times out of 10 you won't. And that's just the way it is. You do with your money what you want to do. If it was me and I didn't want to do it, I would just say no, fuck off, and that would be it. On that note, I'm gonna go because I'm fucked. I've probably talked a lot of shite today, but listen, people, I'd rather get the podcast up a day than skip a week, because I need to be consistent, and that's it. I will leave you to it. Remember, folks, sex work is work, and I love yous, and I will see you next week.